Today's episode is geared towards wellness professionals and healing arts professionals who are growing their practice. Now, if you resonate with being a coach, a therapist, a healer, a nurse, a doula, a doctor, a teacher, a guide, you're some way in the healing profession in some way, somehow, this is going to be the episode for you. And if we haven't met each other already, hello, welcome to the Playground Podcast. This is your space for spiritual exploration, self-development, self-mastery, self-exploration, magic, mysticism, and just remembering that the world is your playground. Don't take anything too seriously. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Send it to 3 of your friends. Let them know what's up. And let's get into it. Now, I wanted to talk in this episode all about how being a business owner or somebody who's trying to grow their wellness business. And I'll define for you wellness business because all of us have a different perspective and variation format of how we conduct our business. So I'm going to define it as you as a person who gets paid to provide a service for something that is in the healing arts. So perhaps you are a yoga teacher, or you are a sound healer, or you are a social worker, or you are a therapist, or you are a facilitator of some sort. It doesn't really matter like the specific definition of your title or the specific label of your title. You're just somebody who is in the healing arts and you're wanting to get paid for your service. So I do want to give you a disclaimer that this isn't going to be a business training. So I do want to manage your expectations, but I do want to talk about a few different elements that are some of the missing elements when you are trying to market yourself and trying to be an entrepreneur in the healing arts. And here's the gist of it, which is, a lot of the marketing and business information that is out here really comes from very patriarchal and very masculine and very bro marketing tactics that is just not in alignment with a lot of intuitive entrepreneurs. And by intuitive entrepreneurs, and if you are somebody who's been with me for quite some time, for about 4 years of this podcast, you probably heard me talk about it a million times, but let me define intuitive entrepreneurship, which is that you do business from a place of your intuition while still adhering to structures and methodologies that have been proven to work in business. So this doesn't necessarily mean that you have an intuitive business. So it's not like you're a psychic and this is the business that you should do. But oftentimes intuitive entrepreneurship works best for people who are in the healing arts rather than following systems that are a little bit more bro marketing. So now that I've given you all this context, let me get to the point, which is being yourself grows your wellness business. That's it. Being yourself grows your wellness business. And so that doesn't mean like, okay, let me show up with all my flaws and just be a bitch and just be mean and be, completely unhinged and unhealed and just like do whatever the hell I want. That doesn't mean that. It means that you're being your authentic essence, your authentic energetic imprint from a place of true love for yourself that translates to how it is that you want to love your clients too. And oftentimes you hear these words that like, be a brand or to, really market yourself in a particular niche or to, do it this way or that way, when the energy of the healing arts is really about humans. It's about people. And so if you remove the person from the craft, there is no connection. Like I'm just like connecting to a logo or I'm connecting to some colors when that's not really what the healing arts is about. The healing arts is about human to human connection. So if I can't see you, then I can't trust you. So your authenticity is what builds trust with your clients, because your clients are drawn to practitioners who are genuine. They want to feel safe with you. They want to know that the space that you're creating, the things that you're talking about are in alignment and in the same vibration of, what they resonate with. And there is a part of you that might really be resisting to put yourself out there in that way. Right? So if you think about a lot of corporatized healing spaces, and including talk therapy, actually, you'll notice that either it totally removes the individual who's providing the service from the equation, or it only focuses on the individual that is providing the service, when the middle ground is both. It is you providing the service and also being able to remove yourself, because it's not about you, it's about the clients that you're serving. And it is about you because it is allowing you to be in your gifts and in your strengths and in your energetic imprint to be able to create the success and create the transformations for your clients because you're aligned to who it is that you are. And that is a different perspective, because one thing informs the other, versus when you're totally removing your individuality from the equation. We have people who are mismatched with therapists. We have people who are mismatched with practitioners and providers and professionals who may be really good at their job, but they're just not aligned for you to be receiving their service, right? And you understand that, like, somebody could be a really great therapist, but like, that's just not your therapist. You know what I mean? Like, you want them to talk in a different way, or you want to, be able to express yourself in a certain way. And so the container that they're creating for you isn't necessarily the most safe. And the way that I'm saying safe is not like a physical safety, but an emotional, energetic safety. So authenticity is what allows us to relate to each other. And if you take the human out of the equation, it makes it really hard to relate, and it makes it hard to grow a healing arts business because you're removed from the equation. Now, you are also going to be able to stand out in a crowded space, right? If you're thinking about like, oh, everybody's a coach, or everybody's doing this, or everybody's a mentor, or everybody runs this business or that business, you're going to have that ideology if you're like a parrot to everything that's being said. Like, you don't have one unique thought, or you don't have one unique way to like say or translate something that's been said a million times. And that's something that you'll hear me on the podcast. Like, I don't think that I'm like saying something brand new. I'm often telling you that I'm borrowing from wisdom traditions. I'm often telling you like, I learned this in psychology class. I'm often telling you like, this is what I read in a book. Like, I'm just saying it in my voice and my tone and my interpretation of that. Right? And so you're able to also stand out when your authentic voice can allow yourself to translate things in your own way. So this means that you have to embrace your own voice. You have to utilize the voice in a way that makes sense for you. So whether it's you communicating through talking, if that's your forte, or if it's through writing, if it's through reading, if it's through art, if it's through movement, everybody has their different skill sets where they thrive. You give me a mic and I'm here talking for like 12 hours. Like, I can talk about stuff. So this is a form that works for me. But now if you're terrified to talk, but you love to write, then that might be a form for you. So this is being yourself, so it's not to say, ooh, podcasts work and, Instagram works or emails work or this. I don't know. All of those things work for different people. It's not that it does or doesn't work. It works for different people because they're in tuned and they're embracing the thing that is them. So if you struggle to write, of course, you can practice writing, and that is absolutely a skill that you can focus on. But if it's more natural for you to speak, then talk. And that's what being yourself means, is that you're taking away some of the perceived barriers. You're taking away some of the obstacles of, oh, but I don't do well on video, or I don't do well writing articles, or I don't do well okay, then what do you do well? Do you mean to tell me that you don't do anything well? Right? And that's just not true, because your natural inclination is like, actually, it would be easier for me to, do finger puppets here. Okay, that is unique. Teach me something in finger puppets then. Like, give me the storyline, give me the situation. So it is a redundant concept, right? Because again, like, I'm not the first person to like come up with the concept of being yourself, right? Like, that's so annoying. It's a cliche thing to say, but it is actually how your wellness practice grows. And in this modern scape, in this format of how wellness and healing arts is being transformed and translated in the industry, you're going to start to see a lot of new therapists starting to practice outside of the traditional therapy space, because they are understanding that their individualism is a part of their gift. Now, it doesn't mean they should now begin to center themselves in every single thing that they do, right? But it is okay for them to come out of that traditional way of practice to be able to be a better fit for their clients, because now they're talking about, racialized identities. Oh, they're talking about socioeconomic statuses. They're talking about childhood trauma. They're talking about their perspectives around the process of healing. They're being able to take it out of a very protected container and translate it in a way that is more relevant to their community. And that's just not possible, because it is not possible for formal education to point to every single use case. And I think education in itself could do better to point to more use cases and different life experiences. I think that's absolutely true. But I just don't think it's reasonable to say that every use case of everybody's life will be taught in education. An unfortunate truth, but knowing that that is the unfortunate truth, that is a more of a reason why healing arts practitioners embracing your individuality, your self-expression, and some of the things that make you unique in you and your life story. And of course, you don't have to put everything out there. You don't have to share what you don't want to, but maybe there's certain parts of your short story that you feel empowered to share. And that actually makes somebody else feel safer with you and more comfortable with you. And they feel like they see themselves in you. And that actually makes you a better suited practitioner for them, because they can feel that, oh, you understand me, you get it. And I don't have to, beat around the bush or try to figure out if I can trust you, or if you don't understand the context, whether it's life context or experience context or trauma context or, cultural context. There's so many different angles to that, but it just makes people be able to connect to you just a little bit more when they understand that you understand. And instead of telling them that you understand, like, you're actually being able to show them that you understand by the virtue of X, Y, and Z experience that you've had in your life. So being yourself, like, let me come back to the point that I'm making here, is like, being yourself is your biggest marketing tool. It is like the biggest secret ingredient that is not a secret at all. And that's also some of the hardest ingredient to get, because what happens to a lot of people is that they try to mimic and they try to parrot and they try to do it in the way and the format that worked for somebody else. And it's that it worked for somebody else because their energetic imprint was that way. So it worked for them in that way because that was their alignment to that. And maybe you have an overlap to that alignment, but your way is going to be slightly different. And so sometimes we forget that. We forget like who us is, or who our essence is, or who we are. And I think that's normal, like sometimes to forget that. But the more that you can actually embody your essence and embody being you, and being yourself, the more trustworthy you are. And I want to be able to trust you as a healing arts practitioner, right? I don't know if like in regular life, I don't know, but like as a practitioner, right? Like if I'm your client, or if there's a client that you're wanting to sign on into your program, your mastermind, your group, or even just like a workshop that you're hosting, they want to know that like you're actually really going to be you when they show up there. And you're not just like code switching, and you're just not like one way this way and then a different way over there. I want consistency. I'm already, I'm already being bamboozled in so many different ways. Like, I just want some consistency. And what that allows your clients to do is that it allows you to be an inspiration for your clients, because you're living through example. You aren't preaching something that you don't actually practice, and you aren't saying something that you aren't yourself. And it doesn't mean that you show up as this like perfect version. And part of it might be that you're really going through it, and you have these troubles that you're going through. And perhaps that adds to your imposter syndrome, and perhaps that adds to your procrastination, that adds to your, self-worth, and that adds to your self-doubt. There might be so many different things, but that's relatable. Because how many of us deal with any of that, right? Like, how many of us deal with that? So if you can admit that, then that makes me feel better, actually. And I don't think you need to be self-deprecating in order for that to be true. Like, it's not like, oh my God, woe is me, and like, here's all the crap in my life, so you should feel bad for me so that I can get clients. That's not what I'm getting to. I'm saying be an embodiment of what it is that you actually are, rather than trying to convince people. And the only way that you can do that is to be yourself. This is your flaws, your strengths, your energy, your voice, your expression, your everything that you're doing is a extension of you. So you being confident in you, even if you're working on something in the meantime, as any of us are, whether it's personal development, whether it's hobbies, whether it's expansion, whether it's business, whether it doesn't really matter. All of us are in process and progress of something, but it allows you to be able to a model of self-acceptance. You're just modeling self-acceptance. It's like, I just am, like, sorry, things might still be a little fucked up and still might, can have a little bit more improvement here, but okay, this is just where I am. And that makes you a safer place for your clients because you aren't leading by perfection. You aren't leading by like, oh, look, I got everything figured out. And you hear me constantly talking about this on the podcast. It's like, I'll let you know when I know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I found out. Like, my whole podcast is about like reporting back to you about things that I learned. Listen back 4 years. I'm like, oh, this is what I discovered. And then I make an episode. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm reflecting on. Yeah, I'm just reporting back. Right. And so same thing. It's like, don't come and like expect that everybody thinks that you're perfect. That's an expectation that you're self-projecting, or yeah, you are self-projecting that. You know what I mean? Like, it may be from society, maybe from parents, but at this point of your awareness state, you understand what you're self-projecting to. So being yourself actually is the greatest tool to growing your wellness practice. It's not about, like that is your branding. Right? Like, that is your brand. Like, you are your brand. So you can put like amazing colors to your brand and go, do some branding that way and pick your website colors. I think that's fun and exciting, but it's an extension of you. It's an extension of your energetic imprint. It's an extension of the energy that you're putting out. And you might also discover that who you are shifts and evolves over time. So you may have a moment where you've outgrown you, or this you that, got you to this you, and then you're becoming a different you. And I think that is also very normal and very human. That's also very natural to experience. So in whichever angle of this that you have resonated with, just remember that yourself is not replicatable. It just can't be duplicated that way, right? Often replicated, never duplicated. There might be overlap between you and somebody else. There might be similarities. Other people may confuse you for somebody else. That is true, sure. But the unique imprints that you have will never be replicated in the same way. So this is your invitation to really start to learn about who it is that you are in whatever format that's going to feel empowering to you, whether you do that with me inside Flow Breathwork Facilitator training and start to heal yourself and discover yourself while you learn to help other people, or if that's through a hobby or an experiment that you're doing in your life, whether it's through friends or people that you meet, whether it's through studying something that you're interested in, maybe education or a class or workshop that you're taking, you're going to be in this exploration phase forever, and it's not to scare you and be like, you'll never really know who you are, because will you? I don't know. Again, I'll tell you when I get there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just another layer of exploration. And I always call this playground a place for self-exploration, because it's like, you can't just decide that's just who you are. You are always moment to moment evolving and growing and changing. And so to meet yourself in those moments of evolution and growth, that's how you can put yourself in a business that doesn't rely on you having to like pretend to be somebody. You just get to be you, and you get to be paid to be you. And you hear that word too, like get paid to be you, but then they want you to be like someone else. And they want you to say it like this, and they want you to do it like this, and then you have to create it that way. It's like, oh, okay, you missed the point. No one can teach you to be you. That's the part you have to discover. So friends, I will leave you here with that. And if you are interested to come study with me, head to www.flowbreathworktraining.com. I'll leave you a direct link in the show notes so you can have direct access. And just remember, no one can be you. And the world is your playground. And until next time, I will catch you soon.